Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long, here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hi.
We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. And we have a really fun and interesting show, informative show, we hope, for you, all centered around the rise of experience gifting.
Right. I mean, I think for us, we started doing this several years ago, giving experiences as gifts instead of giving like just another shirt or a toy to our kids or something along those lines, like giving them a memory instead. And I think it really is growing. And you actually came across quite a bit of survey data proving that this is a growing trend.
Yeah, and it's something that, I mean, giving the gift of experiences isn't anything new, right? I mean, it was always sprinkled in. I heard, because it never happened to me when I was younger, but I heard about people getting, being given gifts, the experiences, maybe a family trip to Disneyland or something like that around Christmas time, instead of just traditional sweaters and toys and everything that you mentioned. But it has been the trend over the last few years that with all this data, when I started really looking at it, that it really kind of counteracts the notion that it is a trend. Like this is just kind of how things are now. And it all kind of goes circles around the changing of priorities with people and families, basically consumers and families both placing more value on making memories rather than just accumulating possessions.
Right.
So we're going to take a look at this, I guess, the new normal, and also kind of give some suggestions, both when it comes to family, single day activities, and thrills and cultural things, and, those best practices.
Well, do you think it's a generational thing? Like this is just younger generations wanting experiences over possessions, or is the data saying it's like across multi-generational?
That's a great place to start, because normally I think people would look at it and go, okay, if you've spent any time on, say, TikTok or Instagram or anything like that, you would look at it and go, okay, this is obviously something that trends toward younger people, right? This has got to be a young person thing, because they're all about, they used to say YOLO. I don't think they say it anymore, but like, it's just being present. It's living life to the fullest and not worrying about these things that you have no control over, basically, right?
Right.
But once you start looking at the data and all the surveys that giant companies, MasterCard and PwC, Airbnb, all of these companies that put out holiday surveys and annual reports, once you start looking at it as a whole, you realize that, yes, it might be bigger with people that trend younger, but it's also something that's gaining traction with older folks, even boomers, and that's even people like older millennials, which I think we qualify as Gen X and people like that, that it's not just like a pocket of people or one generation, but as a whole, people have bought into the idea, yeah, you know what, I can buy, I was going to say a CD player.
Nobody's buying CD players anymore.
I'm so old. You can buy a Walkman anytime. But
your boom box.
Yeah, bringing your boom box out, playing it loud, and beatboxing on the steps. But bringing the family or going with friends to a trip to Mexico or going to Thailand or having an experience where you go, like we will see in just a little bit, make samurai swords together in Tokyo and things like that are within reach. And it's something that I think people will cherish for a longer amount of time than that number one dad mug that you get your dad every single year, or that tie that you get him every single year. That's a different date altogether. That's Father's Day. But those kind of experiences.
I think it is very much the person too. Like I know some people who not big on travel or getting out and doing new things. So this probably isn't for them. But I do think in general, over the last several years, there has been this shift of making memories. I think a lot of it had to do with everybody being stuck indoors for about a year. And then it's like, okay, now we want to get out, we want to do stuff. But I really feel like it started before that. I think it was just kind of a cultural shift. Like, you know, I mean, really, if you look back to even earlier 2000s when you had the recession and the housing crisis, all this stuff, people realized like possessions can go away very quickly. And I think making memories, that's kind of when making memories really became a little more prevalent, because it's like those memories can't be taken from you. And I feel like since that time, it really has grown.
And it certainly solidified it. The time in the COVID-19 era, which seems like so long ago now, but was actually just a couple of years ago, you know, I think that kind of solidified for people. Like this person, you know, we're not guaranteed time and all that, you know, all that other stuff, but let's go out and make some actual memories together. So when we start looking at the data, so Deloitte, right? Deloitte puts out an annual holiday survey, and I'm just looking at the data from the last couple of years, not even going back, try to not go back any further than say like 2018. Okay. But the key finding in theirs, if you look at all of them, consumers have been allocating more holiday budgets towards travel, dining, and unique experiences rather than that traditional retail, kind of supporting what we kind of almost hear every year, like, oh, Black Friday doesn't seem to be here in the US. We have, you know, Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving, which is a big shopping day. It doesn't seem to be as big and as prevalent as it has been in years past. Yes, online shopping probably dents into some of that.
Yeah.
But also people are just, if you listen to retail reports, almost every year now, retail companies are reporting like, oh, this was a down year. It's a down year, you know, because people just aren't buying like they used to, which is both good and bad for economy things, depending on how you look at the metrics.
Well, I mean, I can get myself a cheap TV in January just as easy as I can do it in November. So, you know, I think too, that's kind of the thing people started looking at is like, do I have to buy all this stuff in December for Christmas, for the holidays, or can I spread some of this out throughout the year?
Yeah.
And really, you know, not blow my whole December paycheck on gifts for people.
Right. And you can, you know, you mentioned travel a while ago, which is a good, you know, it is kind of fit in that travel sector, but also you don't have to, for all of these experiences, depending on where you live, you don't have to travel far. Because even though we might mention in this show here in just a little bit, more exotic experiences, it's not necessarily about going to the most exotic locale you can. It can be cooking classes with the family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like
our daughter told me she was interested in taking an acrobatics course. And
Yeah.
so I looked it up and they have them here in the city. I mean, you can take a 2-hour course. It's about $125 a person, which is, you know, one of those things she'd probably never go do on her own, but it's a really cool experience to learn, you know, learn to walk on a tightrope or whatever it is. I don't know exactly, but yeah, I think she's really going to like it.
So like MasterCard's, their spending pulse report from 2019 to 2023, just a couple years ago now, experiences like travel, lodging, and dining often show higher year-over-year growth than many physical retail categories during the same holiday seasons. Looking at PwC, roughly that same time frame, their key finding in their reports, holiday shoppers, especially Gen Z and millennials, frequently plan to purchase event tickets, unique outings, and immersive travel experiences rather than the traditional thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. And it's kind of, I mean, you see the pattern now. Airbnb, they continue to grow rapidly. They're reported their experiences section of Airbnb, if you've never checked it out, it's really fun, has remained a key driver of their business expansion, which I just saw one the other day, that a group of kids set up for their father, for people to come and actually do glass blowing.
Oh, that'd be
glass
cool.
blowing
A glass blowing
sessions with their dad,
that.
like in their like in the shed in the backyard that he has already set up. So it's things like that. Stick around to Unscaled Travel Show. We're going to come back with some of these experiences that you can try for yourself, you and your family or your friends. Keep it right here.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long here with Amy.
Hi.
We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. Remember, for all of our past episodes and interviews, check us out, unscaled.travelshow.com. Or after these episodes air, we do upload them to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you consume your podcasts. We're on there. And we thank you guys so much for following along, subscribing, and leaving us favorable reviews. So we are talking about giving the gift of experiences rather than traditional retail fare. And so now we've given a lot of the backstory and the data. So now let's look at some of these experiences you can give. Let me make note first. These aren't experiences like 15 days traveling around Europe, backpacking and all that stuff. Okay. Or like a weekend in the Maldives or anything like that. These are like, most of these are single day activities. Mm-hmm. You can go, you can do it for a couple of hours or a day, and then you can move on with either your travels or just drive back home because like you pointed out during the break, which was a really good point. A lot of these that we mentioned start off like in exotic locations, but most of these activities, you can find some version of it around the area that you live in.
Right. If you live near a larger town, a larger city, or even a bigger town, you're probably going to find something similar to one of these, depending on what exactly it is you're wanting to do. Right. So, we're going to name some really kind of fun and exotic ones, but you can totally translate this to a local activity. But hey, if you have the capability to send somebody to the Maldives for 14 days, do that too. I don't think they would mind.
Send me to the Maldives. Okay, so let's start with some family-friendly single-day activities and adventures, okay? The first one, we are going to look at Chiang Mai, Thailand.
Which I want to go to.
I know you do.
I sent you this link just like 2 weeks ago.
So Chiang Mai, Thailand is a wonderful place for a really unique experiences. Now, I know this one, we just mentioned all of that. We prefaced it, but I don't know where we could do this exact experience anywhere but here. But this is an elephant care experience.
Right.
So what it is you spend a day at an ethical sanctuary caring for rescued elephants. You feed them, you walk them, you bathe them. You care for the elephants. What this is not is an elephant riding experience. You are not riding the elephants here. People feel very strongly about this. I'm one of those people. Don't do that, right? But this is actually going and caring for these beautiful creatures.
Right. And it's actually very affordable to do this. It's an all-day experience. So if you are in that area for, personal travel or any other reason, you could totally book a whole day doing this for what I consider to be not a high dollar amount at all. I think it's around $80 a person, and it's a 6 to 7 hour experience, which is, for a whole day activity, that's pretty cheap. Yeah. And I know you said you can't really do this in the U.S., but there are a lot of animal sanctuaries or, some ethical aquariums and zoos where they do have animal experiences where you can go behind the scenes. You can learn to care for the animals. You can see how they're taken care of. So again, it may not be a one-to-one comparison of how to do this locally near you, but if you have a family member or friend who's really into wildlife or marine life, there are experiences closer to you that you may be able to gift them.
This particular experience, it focuses on animal welfare, and hands-on education. Great for families or friends traveling together that really love to have an impact on wildlife in a good way. Like you said, super affordable. The way you look at it is just an all-day experience. You can find companies that oftentimes will include a round-trip transport from the city to the parks. Some of them even throw in lunch. So, lunch is included in all this. That's a pretty good deal. One of the companies is the Elephant Nature Park. If you can Google Elephant Nature Park, and you'll have all this stuff pop up there, all the information, and even Elephant Jungle Sanctuary. Now, you always want to check and make sure, it's online stuff now. I mean, everyone can scam and whatever. So you want to be smart about it and everything. But it is a really good experience if you love taking care of animals and
you're not freaked out by elephants.
There you go. The next one is let's focus our attention to Marrakesh.
Ooh.
A place I know you want to go to.
Absolutely.
And we will go to very soon. But this is cooking with the local chef. Again, this is something you could probably find in most corners of the world. You can find some version of cooking with a local chef. But if you are being exotic, go to Morocco.
We were going to do this when we went to Rome last year.
Yes.
Remember, we had it booked, and for some reason it got canceled the day before. I think the chef was had a prior commitment. But you can find a lot of these experiences on Viator, TripAdvisor, Get Your Guide, or is it Get Your Guide? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can find a lot of these cooking with local chefs, but I would love to do that in Morocco because I don't know anything about their cuisine.
These unique experiences to Morocco include something really fun, which is you go and shop in the market for spices and ingredients. Then you learn to cook with the local chef traditional Moroccan dishes like tagine or couscous or anything like that. It's super affordable. Again, usually going to cost you between 50 and 80, maybe $90 at most with a tip or something. If you do that, believe in that. Takes a few hours, which includes a market tour and the cooking session, 4 to 5 hours maybe. So like a good half day, experience. And you get to like that immersion thing that people always talk about. I want to immerse myself in the culture. This is the great way to do it.
This is how you do it.
It's not at McDonald's in Marrakesh. Okay. It's with the local chefs wherever you choose to do it. Mexico City, right here in Vegas, you can find these places to do things like this. The next one I want to talk about is the street art and bike tours in Melbourne, Australia.
Oh.
This is something I got to see and experience in my own way up close and personal on my trip to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic. I absolutely loved Melbourne. Shout out to all my peeps down there. They don't claim me, but that's what it is. So they do have these wonderful bike tours. You pedal through the different neighborhoods. You get to sample their coffee. They are crazy about coffee in Melbourne, by the way. And you get to see a whole heaping of their famous street art, which is all down their alleyways and everything. I mean, there's so much street art in Melbourne. It's its own, like, I don't want to say subculture, but it is kind of like a little subculture.
Really?
Because you start looking around and going, wow, everything looks really vibrant in this city. And then you realize it's like a whole thing, man.
Really? I think if you live in a bigger city, every now and then you should go do kind of a touristy thing because, like, especially here, things are opening all the time and we don't even know about it. And people will come here and tell us, oh, we went and did this thing. We'd never even heard of it. So it's like kind of to stay up to date on your own city, you need to go be a tourist every now and then. And this is a great way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And a wonderful, I lost my place here. A wonderful thing to consider is that, it is popular. There are a ton of these companies that will take you around, but the best one, my recommendation, Melbourne by Bike. They have huge ratings. People really love the experience there. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long, your host. Here is my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello. We
are chatting about giving the gift of experiences rather than traditional retail offerings.
Right.
We were talking about some wonderful experiences such as the bike tours in Melbourne where you can go see the art scenes and cooking with local chefs in Marrakesh or possibly caring for elephants in Thailand. which you can find minus the elephant part. I think you can you can find versions of these in almost every local city or bigger city anyway next to you. So all you got to do is look around. So if you can't get to Marrakesh, you can still find local chefs to cook with.
Right.
And give those gift of memories instead. So before we went to break, I was mentioning Melbourne by bike. I also went with a company that we did kayaking.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Kayaking on the Yarra River. That really, I mean, yeah, it's kayaking. And so it's whatever with some people, but it was a wonderful experience because it was at sunset and then they feed you and then it's nighttime and you're on the river at night, but you're going through the city, which is just a wonderful, wonderful experience. So
yeah, I think that's what this is about. It's like giving someone an experience that they probably wouldn't pay for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, letting them do something maybe they've always been a little bit interested in. I know the next thing we're going to talk about, you had commented this was really great for people who are into photography. But I think even saying that, like we've seen some like nature photography courses where they take you out and kind of teach you how to shoot photography. So if you have someone who's into that in your life, this might be something that they would enjoy, you know, learning how to better shoot photography or do portraits, things like that. So it's kind of like finding out what the people you care about, what they care about, and giving that to them.
And instead of just like a shirt.
Here's a gift card to Starbucks.
It's like this one, right? So this is something we got to see over and over again. We were on a flight to Iceland, stopping through on our way to Switzerland, and we got to see a lot of advertisements for ice cave explorations.
And I so want to do this. I so want to do it.
It looks amazing. That definitely went on the list and kind of kicked off our idea for what to talk about in this particular episode of the show. And it really kind of looked at like, you know, this is something that we looked at each other, not quite the same time, but almost at the same time, we were like, this is something that we need to do as like a group to go and like have this experience together. And I jokingly was like, oh, I got a birthday coming up. And you were like, well, that's a great point. We can book flights, get over here and do this thing. So like you mentioned, great for people who are doing landscape photography or you know, really like ice. But the same experience, talking about bringing it local. There are experiences like in Page, Arizona, which is only 4 hours away from Vegas, where you can go into the slot canyons with a professional landscape photographer, and they will teach you, you know, how to, you know, use your lighting and ISO and aperture and all that stuff. Same thing with these experiences in Iceland, but also you could to explore ice caves.
Right. And I think, you know, there's a lot of places that have natural caves or really amazing hiking trails and views that you don't necessarily need a guide, but hiring a guide who's going to give you a little more history, maybe show you some of the better places to like stop and take photos. That's what this is about. It's like anybody could go hike in the Grand Canyon, but when you hire a guide to take you hiking in the Grand Canyon, it's a little bit of a different experience. Yeah.
This is one of those things that does have seasonal availability. It's obviously best between like November and March. So you're going to want to check the weather and, you know, all those kind of conditions and everything. If you're going to do something like this in a place like Iceland, right? They do have seasons there. I've read about it. But usually 3 or 4 hours, half the day, and then you can continue on about your travels or whatever. But it includes, you know, safety gear and glacier travel and, you know, travel back and forth to whatever you're going to do. So this other one, this is one I got to experience again in Melbourne, Australia, but this one is actually in Turkey. Mm-hmm. Hot air balloon rides in Turkey are like a thing,
right?
Are its own culture right there. So sunrise balloon flights where you glide over the Turkey countryside or Turkey. What's the official?
Exactly how to say
Turkey. I'm sorry. I'm totally messing it up, but I know they have a new way to do whatever. But these balloon flights are beautiful. I got to do it in Melbourne. It was incredible. It was daytime. You got to like be a part of the setup and everything. And like, I hate heights.
Yeah.
So this wasn't perfect for me, but once we got up there, life-changing. It's something that, you know, you can't replicate in a whole lot of things, but.
So for yours, there were a lot of people, though. It was a very large basket. How many people do you think were there? Like a dozen?
Yeah, probably at least a dozen plus the pilot.
So it wasn't one of those small little baskets like you see on TV and movies where it's like a couple and the pilot, and the pilot's trying to, I assume he's called a pilot, but he's trying to like not be obtrusive into this couple's private romantic moment.
He was like leaning off the side, like, oh, I don't want to. Some guy's trying to propose. Like, no, this was actually a really big, sturdy, I don't know, what do you call it, a basket?
That's what I call it.
Yeah, those kind of things. And so I was really surprised by all that, which helps. It helps ease any kind of fears. And then it's very calm. You rise very quickly, but once you're up there, it's very calm. So very kind of soothing and everything. And you can find a big hot air balloon scene in Utah and Arizona here in the States.
I think even up in Reno, they have a big hot air balloon festival.
Yeah, very much so. So you can find a version of that somewhere very close to you. So there's a lot of experiences. And we'll get into some wonderful ones. I mentioned the Samurai Sword workshop. That one's coming up. Also, camel rides. They actually do this in Dubai. They're ethical. Camel rides, desert safaris, basically, with camels. And then they take you to 4x4s where you could go ride the dunes.
Like an ATV type vehicle?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then dinner. They serve you dinner out there in the desert, man. So Dubai is a crazy cool place that we got to get to very, very soon, right? All of us do. Whoever's going, you call me up. We'll make the time. We'll be friends and get out there and do all that, right? We're talking giving the gift of experiences rather than traditional retail things, right? It's Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. And we are chatting about giving the gift of experiences, hoping to, jumpstart your gift-giving experience guiding. I don't know. With all the people around you. So.
Your experience of giving experiences.
There you go. I promise I'm a professional. Before we went to break, I'd mentioned camel rides and a camping experience in Dubai for people who are interested or thinking of looking at something like that. And it's basically like we would equate it to glamping.
Yeah.
Most places would be glamping without the camel ride.
Right, which I think glamping in itself is an experience you can give to somebody.
Absolutely. A lot of places in Utah and around the Grand Canyon, you especially want to go to these places that have like dark skies so you can see the stars. And that's part of the experience. I got to do something similar when I went to Canada at Métis Crossing.
I was just about to say you got to stay in one of those domes with the glass ceiling.
Yeah. It was so cool. Métis Crossing right outside of Calgary. Just an indigenous run company. They're really, really exciting to be around. They have like an animal display and all kinds of stuff there. So you can look them up, Métis Crossing. But it's often something similar to that. They have the sky domes that you can rent. So these experiences will vary by the location, obviously. But if you want to check out, if you just happen to be going to Dubai, and apparently that's high on everyone's list, a company called Arabian Adventures. And there's also Platinum Heritage. But you can find similar things through, if you are worried about that, you can go through similar companies like Viator, Viator, whatever, however you pronounce it, to those companies. So,
yeah.
Another one. I mentioned it earlier, but Samurai Sword Workshop.
You keep mentioning this one because I think you want me to get you this.
I want you bring me to a samurai sword workshop.
Well, when we were in Tokyo, we tried to get to the Samurai Museum, but they were open like weird hours that week we were there.
Yeah.
A lot of the museums were open really weird hours that week.
Yeah. It's something, so you really have to plan, especially things like this where you're counting on a teacher being there. You really have to look at schedules and do the best you can. It was kind of weird holiday season for them whenever we went to Tokyo. But this experience is dressing in samurai attire. You learn basic sword moves. You discover and learn samurai history under a true master's guidance.
Just the learning basic sword moves.
Oh, yes.
I can totally see you.
You see the smile on my face right now? Yes, absolutely.
You were so into this.
Yeah. I mean, they have different companies. One is called Samurai Trip. And then there is of course, the Samurai Museum that you mentioned. They have different classes. So anyone who enjoys that hands-on cultural immersion, that goes beyond just sightseeing and looking around. They really want to put their hands on a sword like I do and and just learn some basic sword moves, learn the basics of Bushido and things like that. Oh, it's right up my alley.
You're saying words I don't even know.
Girl, that's why you go there and you learn them. So you're going to be a part of the workshop too, right?
Sure.
Did you know this one might be more up your alley? This is gondola rowing lessons in Venice.
I didn't realize this is something you need lessons for, but it does sound really cool.
It's not like rowing a boat. So that's what I've learned. There is skill to it. And also there's the singing part. So you got to get the singing down, right? I don't know if that's a real thing, but you learn to row a real Venetian gondola with a professional instructor.
Oh, that would be fun.
So instead of just riding in a gondola, you get to actively navigate the canals in Venice and get to see everything from a gondolier's perspective. Because most of the time you see these videos online and people are being sung to and they're sitting on the river and just doing the touristy thing. And some people are asleep.
Yeah, I've seen people sit there. I've even seen some people say, it was fun for like the first 15 minutes. And then you kind of are just like, okay, I'm over it.
Yeah. This
is a way to experience it and enjoy it differently.
There's a company called Row Venice, rowvenice.org that you can go check out. And it doesn't take long, maybe just an hour and a half to 2 hours. And they will teach you and, give you a life vest so you don't, have any accidents there in the actual Venice canals. But what a better thing to do in Venice with a real, gondolier instructor. I mean, that's pretty darn unique.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
If you want a more meditative thing, there are people out there that are like, dude, I just want to be left alone. I do have an experience for you.
I think people have, for a while, have given like spa days and things like that, generally to women. But this is taking it to a different level. And this isn't like getting a massage or getting a facial. This is truly just zoning out.
And we did mention the glamping and going stargazing and things like that. It kind of falls in that category. There's a company called Integration Sound Bath. What that is, if you don't know what a sound bath is, that's where you are bathed, quote unquote, in sound waves. If you've seen it on TikTok or Instagram, they hit, one of these chime things like in a bowl. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like a bowl thing and it makes these like dong sounds.
Yeah.
And they just kind of do that and you are kind of bathed and it's supposed to be really calming, really meditative and allowing you to just like relax and let the stress melt away.
Yeah, I think this is like for people who enjoy getting away from it all.
Absolutely.
And you can give that experience in a few different ways, but this is a way that somebody, again, is probably not going to pay for it themselves. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's for everyone to do this, but I think it would be very interesting to go check it out at least once.
At least the entire experience, because it's not only just the sound bath, right? It's also followed up by nighttime stargazing in Joshua Tree National Park. So if you're on the west coast of the United States, this is perfect, right? Mm-hmm. So you get to go meditate for a few hours and then you stargaze for as long as you want. You get to be out under the dark sky and really just take in the desert, landscape and everything and just really kind of find yourself and center yourself all over again. So,
and probably another place, if you're into photography, that you can take some awesome photos.
Absolutely. So another unique experience is coming right up. We're going to chat with April Thompson, who is an urban foraging expert. Yeah, urban foraging, right? Learning all about it. So can you. And it's a very, very unique experience that you can try. Keep it right here. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long. So thankful that you are here with us. Remember, for all of our past episodes and interviews, you can check us out at unscaledtravelshow.com and, fill your life with a sense of wonder and travel like we like to do every single week. And this week is no different because our guest today is April Thompson. April is a wild foods instructor and a food and travel writer based in Washington, D.C., where she focuses on urban foraging. April has lived and traveled in over 50 countries around the world and writes about the interesting foods she finds in a monthly wild foods newsletter, called The Wildlife. April, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Jeremy.
I'm really excited about this because this is a subject that I know absolutely nothing about. So I'm putting my learning cap on and I'm ready to do this. So for those of us who may not know exactly what urban foraging is, please explain to us what it is and a little bit about your journey, how you got into it, and how does one become a wild foods instructor?
Sure. Well, foraging is really essentially procuring your own food, and that can be foraging for wild foods. Sometimes also it can be cultivated where, for example, in the urban environment, we may have fruit trees on public lands that you can come and forage your own berries and other food sources from. So it can look like foraging in your backyard for wild, delicious and nutritious weeds. It can be, going into a park where foraging is allowed, because you also have to look at the different regulations, which vary greatly from locale to locale, and looking for delicious mushrooms, berries, or other things. So that's kind of foraging in a nutshell. And, urban foraging specifically, well, I live in Washington, D.C. This is really my environment. So part of my particular interest in urban foraging is just, that's my milieu. And I am someone who's never actually owned a car. And so, I love going out to parks and things like that, but I've just discovered a whole world of interesting food sources right in my own neighborhoods in my own city. In terms of my journey, I mean, I think one of the questions I like to ask when I do my wild food walks is the last wild food you ate. And sometimes people will say, oh, I don't think I've actually eaten anything wild. And I encourage them to go back to their childhood, because most of us, had that experience of tasting wild clover or, a dandelion, or, in my case, I can think back to living in a very urban neighborhood in Portland, Oregon as a kid and finding a wild plum tree. So, I think my journey probably started as a child with that fascination with the environment, both urban and, more rural. And from there, kind of combining my burgeoning interests in nature, food, and cooking kind of in all in one hobby. So it's been, well over 10 years. I've really been deeply involved in this journey of learning, exploring, experiencing, and experimenting with wild foods, and then teaching others. And eventually kind of got to the point where I realized, well, yeah, I still sort of have a hard time sometimes calling myself an expert because I'm self-taught, but I do know a lot more than the average person, and started doing these urban foraging tours that have been really, really popular. Most of them end up selling out. I do like to keep them in small groups so that people have a good learning experience.
I know urban foraging is starting to become this kind of a niche travel trend. Can you explain maybe a little bit or give a little bit of insight into why you think that is, that there's this rise in interest in urban foraging tours like the ones you mentioned?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think people are more interested in authentic experiences in terms of travel, that they don't want to necessarily just, go to a monument. They want to kind of experience a place in a deeper way. Food tours have also gotten very popular.
We're talking about your experiences in Washington, D.C., but we did mention earlier that you have lived and traveled through 50 plus countries. Do you have any foraging, like standout foraging experiences from some of those other locations that you can share with us real quick?
Oh my gosh, so many.
Or do you have a favorite location for foraging or anything like that?
I've never met a place that I couldn't forage, and I've never met a place that I didn't like, to be honest. Every place has its own character and its own interesting, plants and things to explore in the ecosystem. I'll name a few though. If you're familiar with a platform called Atlas Obscura, it is a niche travel platform, kind of billed as the world's guide to interesting, curious places. They have everything from, their own podcasts and books and classes, and also guided tours around the world. And I did a forest to table type tour, foraging tour to Slovenia with them, which was absolutely fantastic. We were joined by a local forager, and we traipsed through the forest, the Slovenian Alps, discovering interesting plants together. And then we had a couple of really cool experiences making meals out of what we found, including this incredible buckwheat flour flatbread that we topped with pesto made from wild chervil, and this cousin of ramps, and all sorts of incredible wild things that we had foraged together. But one of the coolest aspects of it was we were doing this in a 400-year-old, what was called a black kitchen, which is essentially this room without ventilation that was used for home smoking and curing. And so the entire room was just like black with hundreds of years of soot and smoke. And boy, I got to tell you, that flatbread had the perfect crisp.
That sounds delicious. No, it sounds incredible. And a lot of this advice and know-how goes into this newsletter that you release called The Wildlife. Where can people find the newsletter? And if they want to follow along with you, how do they find you?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So my website is April Writes. That's Writes like WRITES. And from there, there's a tab, News and Events. And I have all of my newsletters archived, including like lots of fun stories from different travels. I have my upcoming tours there and other media and things like that. So that is the best way to connect with me. I also am an Instagramaholic. So you can find me on Instagram at Prillytee, which is PRILLYTEE. The newsletter, you can sign up from my website. It comes out once a month. It's free. I don't bother you any more than that.
like Taylor Swift, she is going on tour all the time. It is her Eras tour, and we are so happy. You know what? I feel so much better learning now, being introduced to this. April, thank you so much for your time and your expertise, and I can't wait to talk to you again down the road.
Thank you. Come forage with me.
Absolutely, and most importantly, drink some cider. Folks, stay right here.
Absolutely.
It's the Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hi.
I want to thank April Thompson so much for sharing her education with us about urban foraging. You get a good local guide to take you around a place, you forage what you can, and then you go back and you make meals with it.
It's an experience I never would have even considered.
And it's something that is gaining huge popularity.
Right.
You know?
Because you've done this on a couple of trips now where they've taken you foraging. And again, I didn't realize this was such a big thing, but it's big, and it's big in a lot of places.
That was near Calgary, or right outside of Edmonton, I believe. No, this is Banff. Sorry.
You've been so many places lately.
Same trip. But got to go out with an indigenous guide. They would give you the history, the reason behind why they forged different things, the indigenous people. And then, we didn't get to go back and, create a meal out of the things that we saw and kind of foraged around. But it was a very educational experience. And if you get to tack on something like cooking it afterwards, boom, I love food. So there you go. There are ways to go about giving these gifts and booking these experiences. And we're going to kind of give you some best tips, best practices. But the last thing I did want to mention is a wildlife safari.
This is something I want to do so
wildlife.
bad.
I love safaris. When people say safari, most of the time they think Africa. And of course, those experiences are second to none, right? But there are different ways you can go about it. One is in Malaysia. You have a guided river cruise along different spots. They have different rivers, but you spot monkeys, pygmy elephants, tropical birds. So it's a different way to kind of experience a safari without being on the savannah of Africa or in those jungles or anything else like that. So if you're on a different part of the world, but they have a huge rainforest biodiversity, and it's among the richest in the earth. So a different way to kind of go and see wildlife in a different part of the world.
Right. And I would say there are places on every continent that are known for wildlife spotting. So if this is something a loved one is really interested in, you can probably find something closer to you where you can maybe rent a cabin and just sit on the front porch and watch the wildlife go by, or go on one of the drives through, here at Glacier National Park. I know you've been to. There's a lot of wildlife there, in Yellowstone. A few of these places in the U.S. that are known for seeing wildlife. I mean, we even were at Grand Canyon just driving through one day, and remember the traffic was all stopped because there were all these deer crossing the road. So I think if you have someone who really likes wildlife, there's ways to give that experience too without going to Malaysia.
So there are tons of local tour operators there in Malaysia. Find or go through a reputable company to find the best ones, or the ones that you'll feel most at ease about. One I can mention is Sukal Rainforest Lodge. They have these, not only do you get a beautiful place to stay near the rainforest, but also they can hook you up with these wildlife safaris. So there are different ways to go about this. But all in all, experiential gifting is both meaningful, and it's something that you can foster shared memories with your friends and your family. But there are some practical tips, right? So when you are direct purchasing or looking at gift vouchers, There are a lot of tour operators that offer gift certificates or vouchers, but you want to be sure. You want to check out official websites for gift cards, voucher options. Just like we mentioned earlier, the Elephant Nature Park, right? They have gift options, donation options, or Row Venice. They have gift certificates.
Right.
So if you want to go check out and be a gondolier for a couple hours and learn how they actually do what they do, that's a good way that you can set it aside whenever throughout the year, not just in December.
Yeah.
And have it ready.
I think you don't want to necessarily book an appointment for someone because you don't know that person's availability.
Yeah.
And getting a gift card or a voucher that allows them to redeem it at their own leisure is probably the best way to do that. Unless it's someone like me and you, and I know your schedule and I know next Saturday is going to work for you. Yeah. I would say probably the voucher or the gift card's the best way to go. If
you're going to go through third-party booking platforms, go to the most reputable companies. Mm-hmm. Okay. We mentioned a couple of times Viator, Get Your Guide, these different places that allow you to book these experiences with a certain ease of mind and ease of conscience and everything. So you're not stressing out. Like, did I just give my credit card number to some 12-year-old kid in Beijing? Like, I don't know if I did or not. It's ideal. Okay. Yeah. You won't, I can't guarantee you're going to find the best price here or there, but it's the ease.
Right.
Okay. And it's the peace of mind. When you look at these things, you've given me gifts before. One in the past that you surprised me with was a trip to Seattle to go watch my baseball team, the Houston Astros, boo, I know, take on Seattle. Because at the time we had never attended a game there, and it was completely out of left field. Was it for my birthday?
It was for Christmas a couple of years ago.
It was for Christmas. Yeah. Okay. My birthday's in February, so it always kind of falls around the same times. But it was a complete surprise. But you still had to look at calendars and plan, like we had a firm date that we had to go and be at the baseball stadium, but like we had to plan flights around it, hotels around it.
Right. Yeah. I saw that the Astros were going to be in Seattle, and I don't even know why I saw that or how it came on my radar. But we had just been talking about how we'd never been to Seattle. So I thought, you know what? It was actually, the gift was for Christmas, but the trip ended up being right around your birthday. That's why it's a little confusing. So It was like, I'm going to go ahead and book these tickets and then give you the tickets for Christmas. And it was so funny because when you opened up the printed out ticket, you were like, oh, a baseball game. And I guess at first you thought it was a local game. And I had to ask you, where's it at? And then you realized it was not just a baseball game. It was a weekend trip to Seattle.
Before I spit on it and was like, I'm not going to this.
But you were so happy.
Yeah.
To me, it was one of my best gift giving experiences.
It was a great surprise. It really was. And we made a ton of memories on that trip and did a lot of fun things, which brings up the coordination, communication, because that was a Christmas gift. Baseball season didn't start until at least March, and the game, I don't think was until like April. So there was coordination there, which is important to bring up. Budget and refund policies. Mm-hmm. Refund policies are important because I will tell, we booked an experience through a couple of experiences in Rome through Viator, and we went to the big holy place. The Vatican.
We went to the Vatican.
We went to the Vatican, and we also had the chef cooking experience.
Yes, we did.
The chef cooking experience got canceled, and the original.
We were supposed to go to the Colosseum too.
Vatican experience, and the Colosseum. It was a really busy time in Rome because of the golf tournaments and everything else that were happening around there. And so, working with that company, we had to move things around, and one of them we had to get a refund. Working through Viator, the refund was almost immediate. I talked to a rep, was in constant communication with them. Within an hour, my refund had been processed.
Right.
And it was a couple of days later for the banking stuff to catch up. But everything was handled with a professional. It put me at ease. They rebooked us for our Vatican tour.
Right.
And made like they were that go-between. That's what they're there for. So booking through a reputable company, knowing the refund policies, knowing what to look for and check for really goes a long ways, especially if you are going to have an experience that is away from your hometown or out of state or even out of the country, especially.
Yeah. Well, and we've also given our kids the Christmas gift of concert tickets. And I don't know if you recall, but the concert tickets we gave our daughter a few years ago, the concert got postponed and then got postponed again. And she couldn't use those tickets for 2 years. And they did offer us a refund if we wanted, but she was so excited to see this band. Yeah. She was like, no, I'm keeping these tickets. But it was really nice that the ticketing company did offer the refund to us.
For a lot of these experiences, no matter where you book them, you need to make sure the age restrictions, some of them are seasonal, height requirements, weight requirements, and even accessibility. Okay. You don't want to go somewhere and find out that, you know, they have mobility or dietary issues or anything like that. Work with the tour operators, work with the third party companies, get it all sorted out, but mainly give the gift of memories, shared experiences, have some fun, right? We don't need more mugs. It's an Unscaled Travel show. See you guys next time.